Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone who loves the number 53 on your car, welcome to the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on the 146895 repeater. I am Kilo Echo 8 Papa Victor Lima, your net control for the evening. My name is Nemo, November Echo Mike Oscar, and I am located in Denmark Township. Before I go down the list of regular check-ins, is there anyone that needs this repeater for emergency or priority traffic? All right, nothing heard. If anybody does need the repeater for emergency or priority traffic, please break in at any time with break and your call sign. We will concede the repeater for the duration of your emergency. Again, this is the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on the 146895 repeater. This is a directed net, and all traffic should come through net control. Everyone with a valid amateur radio license is encouraged to participate. And for everybody else checking us out, all the other ways of getting to us, we appreciate you too. This net meets every Wednesday night on this repeater, and the purpose of this net is to have fun making each other laugh, coming up with crazy punchlines for this week's joke. This is a 3-round net, so please stick around or you may miss something, and it is open mic night being the last net of the month, so hopefully somebody's got a discussion topic, because I haven't been putting my brain in it all day. All right, Tom, NHCT, thank you for making this repeater available for public use. Everyone can get to this repeater via RF. Obviously, the repeater frequency is 146895. It has a standard offset and a PL tone of 141.3. If you're trying to reach it via Echolink, the node for that is W8IJC-L. Please allow 2 minutes and clean breaks between transmissions. I'm not 2 minutes between your transmissions. Please limit your transmissions to 2 minutes and allow for clean breaks. And other than that, we are good to go. That's just common courtesy there. All right, let's take a quick break for time. We'll go down the list of regular check-ins, and we'll see who all is here this evening. Okay, starting off at the top of my list, I've got KC8LAR. Jeff, are you with us tonight?
KC8LAR, here with Herbie.
All right, very good. Thank you for that. And we've got you logged in. How about N8DRL? Dan, are you around?
Around is not as big and round as I used to be, though. Anyhow, I got something for discussion around tonight and then unless somebody else has something, N8DRL.
All right, perfect. I'll put you on the list there. Thank you for getting in there with us. How about Ken, KE8YBN? All right, nothing heard from down there in Andover. Hopefully he's doing okay. I haven't heard from him and the missus in 2 nets, but I know we had some technical difficulties. He might have blown us off last week. That's all right. We'll keep on calling him out for a little while longer here. Maybe he'll come back. How about Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet? Are you around tonight?
Good evening, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
All right, Wayne, thank you for being here tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed your POTA activation earlier today once you found a spot. All right, let's see if she's around. Ruth Ann, KE8ZVO, are you with us? All right, nothing heard there. Hopefully she'll be back in town soon. I know she said something about coming to the field day this weekend, so she ought to be back soon. Hopefully she's not too jet lagged. Well, let's reach out to Cleveland Heights, and we'll go out to Dave, K8TIE.
King 8, chair item easy, K8TIE over here. In Cleveland Heights. It's kind of nice. Star Trek's kind of caught on them, but I've got it silent. But we lost one of the repeaters this morning, the standard one that we use for trivia net. We had to use one of the older ones. K8TIE, back to net control.
W8IJC link.
Good old 9-4 probably had some heat issues today, man. I'm surprised it took this long. Nope, that's a good repeater, and they do a good job maintaining it over there. Appreciate everything they do over there with that repeater system. How about Vito, Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India? Are you with us tonight, sir?
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India, I'm here.
All right, a little bit of station ID in there, and I'm assuming I got you marked down as a +1. That's very good. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. How about Drew, Alpha 8 Delta Lima?
Alpha 8 Delta Lima is present, and I have a potential discussion topic if we decide to go with it.
All right, very good on that, and I will mark you down as having a topic. We'll flip a coin. At this point, we've got two DTs. Thank you for joining us tonight there, Drew. Appreciate you. How about let's reach out to Sonny and see if he's around. KD8 LHR.
Nemo, turn that camera off and quit spying on me. Kilo Delta 8 Lima Hotel Radio. Good evening, everybody.
All right, good to hear you on the mic, Sonny. Appreciate you being here tonight. Looking forward to what you got to say. All right, let's move down the list. Let's see if Chris is with us. KE8YQL.
YQL portable.
All right, got KE8YQL. Chris, I got you logged in there. You're portable. A little bit of bacon and eggs frying in there, but we'll pick you out. Let's try Jerry, N3 EVT. All right, nothing heard there. Maybe he's out traveling the world again. How about Jim, KE8 LFR? All right, no Jim. Maybe he's under a car. That's commonplace, or maybe he's out riding the Iron Horse, having a good time. Which I wouldn't blame him for that either. Okay, well he checked in last week. Let's give him a round and see if he's this week. K8 Oscar Kilo Lenny, are you with us tonight? Okay, nothing heard there. Well, that's the list of regular check-ins as I have it. Is there anybody who would like to check into the Wednesday Night Jokenet, or anybody I might have missed? Please call KE8PVL. All right, I heard another tail squelch in there somewhere, so whoever that was, come on back. All right, well, we're not getting audio through the repeater from that station, but that's okay. We'll hopefully pick them up a little later on, and they'll get a better spot. Let's go ahead. We'll get into this week's joke. All right, KE8PVL with the Wednesday Night Jokenet, and the top of the round is the joke round. So this week's joke right here: what did the satellite say to the telescope? This week's joke: what did the satellite say to the telescope? And it's been a little bit since we put Chris in the hot seat. Or maybe, nope, we didn't put him in the hot seat last week. So we'll put him in the hot seat tonight. K8YQL, Chris, good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us. What did the satellite say to the telescope? Uh-oh, did we lose him already? K8YQL with the portable, are you still with us?
K8YQL here, I'm still with you, Nemo. Sorry about that. I thought you had called me, but I didn't want to, double with anybody. But I'm going to say that, what did the satellite say to the telescope? Is that correct?
Roger, Roger, that's what you got. What did the satellite say to the telescope?
I'm going to go with, he would probably say, this is out of this world. I don't know. That's the best I got, man. Thanks for doing it. Let's being here, and we'll pass it back to that control. Kilo Echo 8, Yankee, Quebec, Lima.
All right, very good. It's out of this world. I like that one. That might be a better one than the one I've got. All right, we'll just go up the list the way we have it here. Well, that puts Sonny in the number 2 spot. KD8LHR, thank you for being here tonight, my friend. What did the satellite say to the telescope? Oh, KD8LHR, are you still with us? All right, well, I'll circle back around to him. That's okay. We'll get him back in the rotation here. Maybe he had to run in for another cup of coffee. We'll move up to Drew, Alpha 8, Delta Lima. Thank you for being here, sir. And what did the satellite say to the telescope?
I don't know what it said, but it repeated it. Alpha 8, Delta Lima, back to net control.
All right, it repeated it. That's a good radio answer. I like that one. We'll keep on going to Vito, Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India. And what did the satellite say to the telescope?
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India, the satellite said to the telescope, stop looking at me.
All right, stop looking at me. I like that answer too. Okay, very good. Reaching all the way out to Cleveland Heights and to my dad. Thank you for being here tonight, Dad. Always a pleasure having you. K8TIE, what did the satellite say to the telescope?
Oh, hey, bro. Is Williamson on street? KDTA, back to net control.
All right, very good. Got to make sure it's addressed right. How about Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet? What did the satellite say to the telescope?
Can I get a closer look at you?
Yeah, depending on the satellite, yeah, it might be looking back. Absolutely. How about it, Dan, N8DRL? Good to have you with us tonight, sir. What did the satellite say to the telescope?
Well, you got your first stop right here in Geneva, but wait for one that your dad said. That was pretty good. Anyhow, I'm going to clear out here. I got to get in the shower and get the first layer of sweat off me from today. I am whooped. Been a busy week. N8DRL.
All right, very good, Dan. I'll put you down as IO, and if you feel like jumping back in, just give a holler. I'll put you back in the rotation. And that means probably Drew here is going to be picking up the discussion topic for the evening, and that's good. All right, how about it, Jeff? Rounding out my list, KC8 LAR. What did the satellite say to the telescope?
Nemo, I'll try to keep it radio friendly. I caught you peeking while I was streaking. KC8 LAR, back to net.
All right, station ID in there. And, man, peeking and streaking, that's a good one. I like that one. That's probably the funniest one so far tonight. We'll try Sonny one more time, see if he got back in the room here with us. KD8 LHR, Sonny, are you back with us?
Yes, sir, I'm back. Sorry, I was getting ice cream. I like ice cream. And that's what the telescope told the satellite, because I like ice cream too.
All right, we all scream for it, and especially in this heat, man. It's been a crazy couple days. Thank goodness I'm not actually working on a roof, and I'm only on a deck project this week. Man, I don't think I could imagine putting shingles down this last couple days. I would have probably fallen off the roof and died. Anyway, good answer there, Sonny, and thank you again for joining us, and enjoy that ice cream. All right, that rounds out the list as I have it. Before I get into the answer that I have for this week's joke, is there anybody that would like to check into the net? Please call. Okay, nothing heard. So this week's joke, what did the satellite say to the telescope? Stop staring, I need some space. What did the satellite say to the telescope? Stop staring, I need some space. That's the answer I have. Somebody came really close. I think that was Vito. But man, Jeff, that one was funny too. And man, we all could use some ice cream. All right. Let me take a quick break for time. I'll throw some announcements out there, and then we'll get into why everybody's really here.
Somebody was double with you for that one, Nemo.
Somebody doubled with me. Come again. All right, if there was another station in there that I might have doubled with, go ahead.
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India, I was rechecking to give my wife's answer.
Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India, I'll take that answer. Go ahead and send it, sir.
The XYL's answer is, you're on this world.
All right, that's a good answer. Next time she's standing right next to you, she could push the button herself. Put her on the mic. It's okay. We're all friends here. All right, one more call out to anybody who might want to check in before I get into the announcements. K8 PVL with the Wednesday Night Jokenet, please call.
KTI. I think the movie reference is a movie called Carrie, which was a haunted car, a self-driving mad vehicle. KTI, back to net control.
All right, I'll take that guess. It was a good movie, and I did like it, I have to admit. There was another one called The Car that was also very similar to that movie. It was very well done as well. And Carrie, was that a Thunderbird? I can't remember for sure if that was a Thunderbird or not. But I do remember it always fixing itself. I wish my car would do that. but just not run everybody over while I'm driving down the street. All right, very good. One more call out to anybody who wants to check in. Please call.
NADRL, I'm calling. I'm saying Herbie the Love Bug, NADRL.
All right, we got that answer from N8DRL. Dan, I'll take that answer for the mystery show this week. Appreciate you giving me that answer too, and glad you stuck around. And but go take your shower. It's okay, man. You don't have to listen if you don't want. All right, let's do the announcements. How about that? All right, this we all know the Aries District 10 Ashtabula County Emergency Services Net is every Monday night, and it's over here on this repeater at 8 p.m. on 146.895 with a standard offset PL tone of 141.3, and of course the Echolink node of W8IJC-L, and also the Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club's weekly net. That net is over on the 146.715 repeater, negative offset. PL tone of 141.3 every Thursday night at 8 p.m. They have an Echolink node over there too, and that is N8CT-L. Check them out too. They're a great group of folks, and they can appreciate some check-ins over on their net. How about this? The Ashtabula County Hamfest is coming up here. We've got it going July 29th, 2025, 8 to 3 p.m. at 1809 Middle Road. That's Pioneer Picnic for those of you who know local. In Pierpont, Ohio, we're looking forward to a whole bunch of people being out there. We got a great day of fun and festivities planned. Hey, the Amigos Radio Club Ashtabula, we're going out to do AARL Field Day. That's this coming weekend. So come join us at Crabapple Picnic Area in Geneva State Park, 4499. I don't know how to pronounce that. Padanarum Road over in Geneva State Park. Just look it up in Geneva State Park. Crabapple Picnic Area. You'll find us. And this next announcement's kind of a rough one, but if you can do it, it's a great time. I'm going to be going there, and then I'm going to head over to the fireworks at the racetrack right up the road. But there's an Amish chicken dinner coming up on Friday, July 4th. Please feel free to show up to that. It's going to the good cause, helping out the Amish community. That's going to be Friday, July 4th, 8 to 4 p.m. Some of the best chicken dinner you'll ever have. It's 7237 Hammond Corners Rd. Over there in Pierpont, Ohio. They're going to have, they're going to have all kinds of stuff. Chinese auction and pies and chicken and homemade ice cream. We all know about the homemade ice cream and how good that is. And the pies. The pies are good too. I can't recommend that food enough. Me and the wife, we're going to make a date out of it. We're going to go down to the Amish chicken dinner, and then we're going to head over to the racetrack for the fireworks. That should be a fun time there. All right, if you get a chance, head out there. That's 7237 Hammond Corners Rd. All right, that's the end of the announcements as I have them. So let's start down the list, and we'll go get into why everybody is really here. Starting the list in the same rotation, we'll go with Chris, KE8YQL. Good to have you with us tonight, sir, on your portable. What do you got for us this evening?
Good evening, everyone. KE8YQL here. Hope everybody's staying cool. I know we've definitely been indulging in ice cream daily. I heard Sonny saying he was getting ice cream. Good on you, man. It's the day to do so. I saw some rain coming this week, potentially, but yeah, I actually had my base shut down because it stormed maybe last night, 2 nights ago. Anyway, and I had my base unplugged there, and so I haven't really been monitoring, but I'm glad to be here this evening with everyone, and stay hydrated out there. Well, that's about all I got, and back to net control. Kilo Echo 8, Yankee Quebec Lima, portable.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for finding some time to join us and plugging your radios back in. Appreciate you being around. Oh, man, hopefully everything's going smooth for you. Hey, let's move up the list here to Sonny, KD8LHR. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. What do you got?
Not too much. Just sitting here playing
on the Discord, and was in the park tonight. Just did a 10 and out, and couldn't figure out what was going on. My YouTube wouldn't come up for me. Turned out it was on my other YouTube channel, and it don't have enough subscribers on it. It's stagnant. It just sits there. It don't have enough subs to go and do the live stream. So I was a little confused. So I didn't get to live stream my activation today. And just to throw this out there, make it all public and everything. I've been kind of a little down in the dumps. Had some personal stuff going on over here that made me step back, step away from some stuff, quite a few things. And the dog's barking. But hoping to have that all taken care of here shortly. Mentally, physically, financially, hopefully. Financially, yeah, we'll see about that. But Nemo, I want to thank you for sticking in there and checking up on me. Vito, you as well. Appreciate you both. Love you both. And I'm going to go ahead and jump off here, turn it back over to Nemo, and I got to go see why my doggie's barking. He's saying ruff ruff. Somebody's here, I think. This is KD8LHR. Turn it back over to Net Control.
All right, Sonny. Well, glad to hear things are turning around for you. Hopefully, we'll get to see you for a little while at Field Day. I know things have been busy for you, but hey, even if you just show up for an hour or so, you don't need to bring a radio. Just come and hang out with the guys and show your smiling face. I'm sure we'd all appreciate you being there. And man, you're my Elmer, so to speak. So yeah, absolutely. And I consider you a good friend. So thank you for being there for me when I needed it too, man. All right. We'll keep on going up the list here. We'll go to Drew, Alpha 8, Delta Lima. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. And what do you got for the group?
Oh, not much. Just to get a balance. I've been trying to stay cool. Finally got out today and did some errand running and got gas and stuff and mowed the grass, which was getting pretty high because I've been putting it off because of the rain first and then the heat. But that's done, and we've got pretty decent amount of grass here, so it's somewhat of a task. So it's always nice when I can look out my window and it all looks nice. So I'm not anal about that stuff like some people. I mean, I don't even mow it, so it's pretty high most years. One, because it's so wet, but anyways, it's nice when it's like it is now. It's gonna break real fast. Radio-wise, I've been doing just some shortwave listening, just kind of starting at one end of the dial at like 30 megahertz or whatever, and going all the way through and going through all sorts of places where there's no amateur activity at all, and just trying to find commercial bands. And partly because at different times the bands have been kind of not so great. And also because it kind of takes me back to my early days in radio. It was one of the first things I got into back when I was a kid, listening to the shortwave, which kind of segues into what I'm going to say the topic for our discussion should be, is kind of, I'll say more about it, but kind of paying homage to like our early days of radio and how we got into it and the people that got us into it and stuff. But I can talk more about that when that round comes about. Anyway, send it back to Net Control, Alpha 8, Delta Lima.
All right, absolutely. Sounds like you got some good ideas in there, and we'll come back to you during the discussion round and let you take the lead on that, sir. Absolutely, because we stand on the shoulders of some pretty great people. I actually, I had talked about some of them not long ago on my other YouTube show that I just started, and I think I have represented correctly with that. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I can't get my point across correctly, but I think I did all right. Oh, all right. We'll move up the list here. Alpha Delta 8 Oscar India Vito +1. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. And what do you got for the group?
I am actually in the middle of building my subloaded dipole for 40 40, 20, 15, and 10, and hopefully maybe add a few more bands onto that. That's all I'm doing right now. And then got CW as usual if you need me, or if you need me. after net. Back to you.
W8IJC link.
All right, very good. Yeah, hey, loading frequencies up, and also with Drew with sort of what you commented on just briefly there. I actually saw this thing about 4 meters just a little bit ago. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I think some people are starting to use it for some reason or another. So maybe that's actually a thing. I actually, I'm kind of new, so I don't know one way or the other. But man, I'm going to look into that a little more, and maybe we'll talk about that next week. All right, KTIE. Dad, good to have you with us. You sounded good on the radio tonight. What do you got for the group?
Oh, gosh. I had a scene or somebody's small portable radio here that was all full general coverage. It had long wave, it had FM, but it also had went up to 30 megacycles and stuff. And unfortunately, I must have not used it for a while. And then I went out and bought a power supply, 9-volt thing, and plugged it into it, turned it on, and it popped something. So that doesn't work, and I haven't gotten any time to actually service it and get into it. It's probably just a popped fuse or capacitor, probably electrolytics that had a little bit of degradation of the oxide layer from non-use, which means I really should have taken a supply and a high-value resistor and just kind of let the leakage pull it up, but I didn't. So now I've got to figure out how to actually get into that thing. And one of the problems is my substantial electronics center for working on something like that is upstairs. And I only get up there once a week or so when I'm taking a shower. And with a shower, I'm back downstairs. So I'm really kind of hampered on that. And when I get a general, presumably I hope I get one reasonably soon, I will want general coverage reception. KTIE, back to that control.
All right, very good. Well, once you let the magic smoke out of the box, it's really hard to put it back in. But maybe you'll be able to figure that out soon enough. I would see if you can't get some of that equipment moved down into the first floor where you can access it on a regular basis. That might help you out there. How about it, Wayne? Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet, how'd your POTA go today, and what do you got for the group?
I wound up going to Dorset. That place, those game lands, I'll just go there next time. I'll set everything up so I don't have to look up where I am. But I'll probably go there maybe Friday, we'll see. 71 contacts today. I did okay. 40 was booming. 20 was kind of iffy when I was there, but 40 was booming. Other than that, I just set some other stuff up, getting ready for field day, getting all my equipment ready and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, just trying to relax. A little bit cooler, not a ton cooler, but at least it was a little bit cooler today. That's really about it. I've been working a little bit on trying to get into some more notes and stuff, but that's about it. Alpha Charlie 8, Juliet, back to Mexico.
All right, very good. And absolutely, yeah, that's a great place to go. The only thing is there's nothing there. There's no picnic tables. There's no power. It is a hunting ground, so I would say probably after September, you might not want to go there too much. I mean, you know, you could still go because you're not leaving the parking lot, but it's a nice place to hike and walk around. I've been down there once or twice. All right, let's move up the list here. We'll see if Dan is still around or maybe he jumped in the shower. N8DRL, are you still with us? All right, well, maybe his station is secure, and that's okay. We'll let him do his thing. All right, we'll go up to Jeff, KC8LAR.
Good evening, Nemo. Everyone else on the net. Not doing a whole lot. Been taking care of the missus for the past week and a half. She had her knee worked on, but seems to be healing well, so that's a good thing. Get to go to the doctor early next week and get ready all clear to send her back to work because she's going buggy, and that's making us buggy. So, but we're making it through. So that's about all that's been going on in my life. So we'll pass it back to Net Control.
All right, very good. And that rounds out the list as I have it. If there's anybody else who'd like to check in before we get into tonight's discussion topic, please call KE8PVL with the Wednesday Night Jokenet. Okay, nothing heard. All right, very good. Thank you again, everybody, for being here tonight. And since we didn't hear back from Dan, I guess we'll turn it over to Drew with our discussion topic for the evening. It'll be good for me to pick up on something, to be able to comment without tonight. So, all right, Drew, Alpha 8 Delta Lima, take it away.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of give everyone's radio origin story, especially with Field Day right around the corner, and emphasis being on trying to get people into the hobby. I'm curious as to how other people came to love radio. And I'll kind of go first. You know, I was born in the early 70s, so all the TV shows when I was a kid, everyone had radios, had CBs, the Smokey and the Bandit, Dukes of Hazzard, all those guys. And it was actually pretty common for like communities to have CB radios. I remember I'd go to my grandpa's, and his more or less wife, but girlfriend, had a CB, and it was in over in Jamestown area, Pennsylvania, and they would just talk. All the farms would talk to each other, and for fun and for emergency type purposes, but mostly for fun. Give me a break. And they all had handles and such, and in the 70s, CB was pretty big, and I kind of was exposed to it, but not really big into it. I had one of those walkie-talkies you could get from Radio Shack, which you put like 9 or 12 like AA batteries in the thing, and it ended up being several pounds. By the time you had it all set up, and you actually had to put crystals into it to make it work, and it had a real long telescopic antenna. So that's basically my origin story. And now I'd like to hear everybody else's. Send it back to Net Control, Alpha 8 Delta Lima.
All right, very good. Well, I guess I'll start down that road there and kind of get your mind. So probably from the time I was about 5 or 6 or 7, maybe. Well, my dad, who's on the radio here with us, he could probably testify to the fact that, we would go to Hamfest here and there, and I remember going to them pretty fondly, and I didn't know what I was looking at necessarily, but I definitely thought it was all cool. And then when I was younger, I used to stay up really late and watch Big Chuck and Little John and Big Chuck and Houlihan in the evenings, and while everybody else was asleep, That was a pretty popular TV show back then. But then I would sneak into the back room where we had an old Hammerlin set up, and I would flip that sucker on and spin the dial. And sometimes I would just sit there listening to the time because that was the only thing that was there. But there was, most of the time, there was something pretty cool to listen to. And, when I got old enough to drive, I didn't feel like taking the test and testing. And, so I put a CB in my car, and probably from the time I was, starting at around 19, maybe 17 to 19, somewhere in there when I started driving, I had a CB in my car pretty much everywhere I went. And, I don't know, about 5 years ago or so, I decided it was time for me to go ahead and take that plunge, and I took the test, and I've been as both feet in as I could be ever since. So that's my story there, and I'll move it down the list here to Chris, KE8YQL. How about you, man? Your amateur radio origin story. Go for it. Chris, if you can hear us, you need to go about 2 steps to the left there, sir.
All right, KE8YQL here. Hopefully that's a little bit better signal. How long have I been, maybe 2.5 years? I can't quite remember, but Amigos Amateur Radio Club helped me a lot getting started, and I basically got my GMRS license first, and sort of, was doing some prepping and different things for my family, and working with them to get comms all the time, because since 5G, we've had tons of problems with cell phones and different things, and it's really, I've always kind of been into radio, even since I was young, we would use radios, for different things, when we were outdoors with my brother and I. So anyway, yeah, just a slow graduation to GMRS and then amateur radio, and it's been great. I've learned a lot. I've been trying to get on HF more frequently, but I don't. And so anyway, yeah, it's just, it's a hobby, and it's something that I enjoy. I like sharing it with other people, and I try to do that as often as I can, and I'm glad to be here with all of you. Glad to see lots of new members coming in, and new people getting their licenses, both amateur and GMRS. Something we talked about today in the group chat there on Facebook. But anyway, everybody have a great evening, and stay cool. KE8YQL, back to next control.
All right, very good. Yeah, man, appreciate you being there, and I know you were listening to us here on the Jokenet on Scanner for a little while there before you jumped in and got your test, and we appreciate that too. Glad you were our first victim, so to speak. Not really, but you know what I mean. We're glad you're around. All right, we'll keep on moving. We'll go to Sonny, KD8LHR. Great to have you with us tonight, my brother. What do you got there as far as your origin story goes?
Well, everybody sit back, kick your shoes off, put your feet up, grab a cup of coffee, glass of bourbon, shot of milk. Sit back and listen to the story of Kilo Delta 8, Love Ham Radio. Let's see. As most of us said, and probably has, but don't want to admit it, I started out in CB radio when I was 3 years old. First time I ever talked on the radio to my dad when my father and my mother were talking on the radio back and forth as he would go to and fro work. And Dad's name was Fuzzy because, he was fuzzy. He had a beard, big old, ZZ Top style beard, and Mom's name was Buzzy because she was always buzzing and chatting in somebody's ear. But, and I was a little fuzzy, and then I became LB. And I did that for years and years and years and years. And then back in 2000, let me look up here, and I'll break for time while I'm doing that. 2009, this is Kilo Delta 8, Lima Hotel Radio for ID. Back in 2009, my Elmer, KB8YSX, Kilo Bravo 8, Yankee Sugar X-Ray, I almost said it the way I'd say it to him, but anyways, he bugabooed me, and then he gave me a deal that I couldn't pass up. He said, hey, I'll give you this, and all this if you get your license. I said, well, let me check it out, look into it, and I did, and I studied for a little while, a couple weeks, and then went and took my test, and I passed, and got my ticket, and I was a technician for pretty near 10 years, and right around about 9.5 years into it, I upgraded to general and started doing parks on the air and having fun on the HF bands and all that. But love to do antennas, love to play and experiment with antennas. Speaking of which, I will be playing with a 5-element beam that I got while I went to Hamfest. 5-element tri-bander. What is it? 20, 10, and 15. It's going to be a good, fun little project for me. But yeah, that's about it. Here it is, 2025, and I'm still hitting it. But thanks for picking me up. I'm going to eat more ice cream because the wife went to Dairy Queen, and I didn't know it until she called and said, what do you want from Dairy Queen? So I'm going to eat my chocolate ice cream, mint Oreo chocolate chip flurry. Thanks for picking me up, Nemo. 7 threes, and have fun.
All right, Sonny, man, you enjoy that ice cream. And again, it's a pleasure hearing you back on the air. And thank you for joining us again tonight. All right, we'll move up the list here. Vito, Alpha, Delta. Oh, wait, wrong one. Vito, Alpha. Yeah. Vito, Alpha, Delta 8, Oscar, India. Come on with it before you leave.
Well, my origin stories, similar to the rest of you guys. I started off in CB. Handle is Marlboro Man. Then I got, well, that was while I was in high school. Then I got into electronics robotics class at Mayfield, and I had one of my instructors, Mr. Cook, was an amateur operator, and he was telling us about it. And
W8IJC Link.
It was back in like 94, 93, 94, somewhere there. And kind of life got in the way. And then last year, early on in the year, in March, my grandmother passed away at 93, if I remember correctly, 92, 93. And we were spreading her ashes in Yosemite later that last year in August, and was looking at something to communicate with the family. So got my GMRS license and some radios for the family to communicate while we were there, since cell reception is non-existent in most of the park. And that kind of rekindled the flame for amateur radio, and my birthday is October 2nd, and about a week before I set the goal for myself. By the end of October, I was going to study and take all 3 tests by the end of the month to get my extra ticket. And it's studied about 10, 12 hours a day for the entire month of October until October 29th. I took the test, passed my 3 tests, and the 31st I got my ticket. And then, then I met you guys over in beginning of January for Black Powder season. Back from that.
Well, and we appreciate you, man. You've been a both foot in kind of guy too, and you jumped right into the fray. That's for sure. All right. Well, we've got another one. Everybody, sit back, relax, and enjoy this story coming up. I'm sure it's a good one. Dad, K8TIE, back in the day with the vacuum tubes. How about it, man? Your entrance into amateur radio.
Actually, my first foray into radio came from a fact that I lost in Monopoly, like really early. And, well, I was over at some cousins and stuff. And down in the basement where we were doing the game, they had this floor model radio. And it had shortwave on it, several shortwave bands, long wave, and several things. So I went upstairs and asked my uncle and aunt whether or not I could use the radio. And they told me that it didn't work. But if I wanted to try, I could turn it on and stuff like that. And I turned it on, and it was kind of scratchy and stuff like that. But as I tuned it up and down to the dial and that stuff, and switched the bands and stuff, it tended to wipe clean the contacts on the switches that were a little bit oxidized. But it wiped them clean, and by the time of an hour or so, I was getting Radio Moscow and all kinds of international stuff, Voice of America and them, and it was very interesting. And then when I got just a little bit older, I was taking and patching together some very simple fixes on neighbors' radios and stuff. And it came up towards Christmas time, and my parents wanted my Santa list, what I would like for Christmas. And I looked at it, looked at all the neat things, and my request was test equipment. Vacuum tube voltmeters, sweep generators, DVMs, not DVMs, but VOMs, and I had a couple of those, and other kinds of instruments, so that I could build things. And I was getting the Amateur Radio Handbook in 1959 and 60, which had all kinds of construction stuff. And when I timed out my novice license, I went to the technician, because it was the only one that I could copy the code fast enough to qualify for. It only took 5 words a minute, and the general took 13, and I never exceeded 10. Just my reaction time and stuff like that. But also in the meantime, I was taking and looking at all these circuits for building a 6-meter transmitter and modulation monitors and things like that. I'm running out of time. Break for time? So I was looking at that. If I got test equipment and I could take and model the circuits and how to design them, I could build what I wanted. I did hi-fi stuff, and I did amateur radio stuff. I did have, Nemo remembers the Hammerland BC 779, That was a monster thing. It took two chassis. One for the power supply, 19-inch rack mount, 30 tubes. Somebody had modified it so that it had 7 and 9 pin miniature tubes for all the IF amps, so that it actually had a little bit extra sensitivity on it. And Nemo managed to enjoy that one. But I designed things for ultralight, ultra low tracking force tone arms and special phono cartridges that were germanium strain gauge elements, unlike any other, things like that. And I designed the audio amps, built the audio amps and stuff like that, but designed my own technique for trying to measure the high-level modulation of my AM transmitter, because my scope was a moderately nice one, a 5 megacycle bandwidth AC coupled scope. But that meant the way it was built, I couldn't directly connect the vertical deflection plates to the transmitter output, because those were permanently wired into the amplifiers, and they only went to 5 megacycles. So I had to come up with a different way to measure the modulation, and did that. So I got into a lot of creative engineering, designing my both hi-fi and amateur radio equipment. So that's been my forte, sort of, in a way, is homebrew. And yes, I enjoyed that. I managed to go from 6 meters all the way from Cincinnati out from Nebraska on 6 meters with a 5-element beam at a very nice high position down there. So yes, amateur radio has been fun, being able to hear all the stations and talk to them and things. And if I get a general license reasonably and a short receiver and all band transmitter, then I can take and cover some distance and stuff. Otherwise, I'll take and talk to the space station or something. Okay, TIA, back to net control.
All right, very good. Space station's on my bucket list, that's for sure. And yeah, plenty of fun days playing with that old radio in the back, keeping it warm. I remember some cold nights, keeping my hands warm on it. All right, we'll go up to Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. How about you? What got you started in amateur radio?
My first exposure to ham radio was when I was in Boy Scouts. I was like 12 or 13. I remember talking to some guy in Florida. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And I dabbled a little bit here and there, never got my license. But I always was doing shortwave and stuff like that. And then one of my buddies, we each got started to get my ticket. I got a 2-meter radio, which I still have, the EAC 7800. First radio I got, and we used it just so we could communicate with each other in case of emergencies, or if the dog poop hits the fan, And I just decided to keep doing more and more. Then I got involved with the Ashtabula Club, and got into HF once I got my general. And then I've been doing that ever since. Back to net control.
All right. Well, I'm glad radio's brought us together. You're a good guy, and I'm glad I've gotten to know you and everybody else in this group, too. All right. We'll move up the list here. Let's see if Dan is still with us. N8DRL, did you come back? All right. Well, I know he's outside all day like me. I don't blame him for jumping in the shower and leaving us in the dust there. How about it, Jeff? KC8LAR, your origin story, sir.
KC8LAR here. Well, I don't know. I guess I've had a long path. Started out when I was younger, just playing with radios, and when I was a teenager and preteen there, I did a lot of listening to AM broadcast stations, believe it or not. We used to call it AM DXing, and after the sun went down, you hang a wire along that coil, that old ferrite coils that went into the back, and strung it out your window, and without your dad finding out, you could pick up all kinds of strange things and from places unheard of. And I enjoyed a bit of that, and got into fixing old radios and TVs. My dad did a bit of that, and then left it alone for a long time. Went into the service, and when I got out, I got into CV and played with that for a lot of years. Got into building my own antennas and playing with the internals, and wanted to know more. And finally, one day, I ended up at the candy store, Amateur Electronic Supply there in was it Wycliffe, I think it was. And one of the guys behind the counter, Rod, asked me if I understood the books I was buying, because I was up there buying materials all the time. Break for time. And when I told him, yeah, but I want to know more, he asked what I knew about ham radio, and I didn't know a thing. A couple of classes later, I had a technician's license, and it took me a long time, almost 20 years to move up to general. And heck, here we are extra now, and still learning, still enjoying the journey. I do a fair amount of short wave listing as well. It's something I've always enjoyed, as well as scanner. I got a kind of a veritable listing post here, so got into GRMS as well for the family. But yeah, if it walks, squawks, or otherwise has a frequency, I'm game. Like to play with it, but that's it all, I guess, in a nutshell. So we'll toss it back to net control. This is KC8LAR.
All right, very good. That rounds out the list as I have it. This is KE8PVL with the Wednesday Night Jokenet. Before we do anything else, is there anybody who would like to check in, or anybody who'd like to add to what they said? Please call. All right, nothing heard. What great discussion topics we had this evening. And man, there was a couple guys that got the mystery show right tonight. So congratulations to those folks, and you probably know who you are. Man, it was good to have you with us and everybody. I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on it. Great hearing how everybody got started in the radio, and man, a lot of us came from similar backgrounds, that's for sure. At least started out similarly. And this group has come together, and it's been a good thing. I think we're destined to do some really cool stuff in the near future here, and can't wait to see what the future brings us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on it. And again, thank you everybody for being here tonight, and everybody who's listening. For those people who might listen to the YouTube channel later when I get it loaded up, trying a new recording thing tonight, so bear with me. I haven't liked the way the recordings have been coming out, so I'm trying some new stuff here. So hopefully the recording comes out good this time, the way I want it. Be doing some tweaking over the next couple weeks or so, and we'll see how it goes. Prepping to do maybe do another thing another net, maybe on the HF side. So we'll see what happens with that. If I get everything worked out audio-wise, I'll probably do that. All right, Tom, NHCT, I don't know if you're out there or not in the barn listening, but thank you for everything you do, keeping this repeater up and running and letting us use it every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for the Wednesday Night Jokenet. Really appreciate that. And all you retired from service and currently in active duty to service to our country, I appreciate the things that you do and the sacrifices that you're making for our country. I will not forget those things. This is KE8PVL. I'm going to go ahead and return the repeater back over to normal amateur radio use, whatever that might be. Be good to each other, everybody. KE8PVL is clear.